right, my friends, how are you today? Aaron here bringing you your full moon horoscope for September 29th, 2023. We've got a full moon happening in the sign of Aries, which means our sun, the source of light, the source of illumination, is coming from the sign of Libra. Libra is the only inanimate object in the zodiac, which is, of course, the balancing scales. And Athena is Virgo, right? The little lady, the female of the zodiac, holding the balancing scales there of Libra. And Virgo, the virgin meaning not owned by someone, not owned, free to make their own decisions. Now Mercury is back there, home, still in the sign of Virgo, free to make one's decisions. You're free to think however you'd like. You're free to think astrology is wonderful. It's a great tool. You're free to think astrology is pseudoscience and fugazi. You're free to think that this full moon is having some significant impact on your life. You're free to think anything you'd like. No one can control your thoughts. That's up to you and your own experiences, right? So you are free to make these decisions and what you're saying yes to and no to. This is the scales of Libra. Okay, now the Egyptians would say, I love the Egyptian mythology and a bit of like the religious side of things, especially like their commandments. I kind of favor them, especially to Christianities. It's like, I have not stolen, I have not killed, I have not lied, opposed to thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not. It's an outside force telling you shouldn't do something compared to an internal guidance system that's guiding me to make the better, higher decisions for myself and for others around me. I don't want to do this because I want my heart to weigh as light as a feather in the afterlife. And if my heart weighs light, then I get to ascend to Valhalla or whatever, the heavens, right? And if my heart is heavy from guilt and a heavy consciousness, then I'm weighted down to the depths of my own personal hell, if you will, right? Now, these words are very subjective. Heaven, it's very clear in the Bible that heaven is the sky. There's no word for sky in the Bible. God placed the sun and the moon and the heavens to be seen as stars, or to be seen as, days and weeks and years, and tell us the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not trying to get into religion, but there's a lot of different ways to view that, all right? So we have this left and right, yes, no, we can do this, we don't have to do this. There's the internal yes, me, then there's the external you should. Now that plays a huge role in this full moon because this full moon in Libra, of course, or full moon, in Aries, has to do with ourself and other people. Other people, self, other people, self, other people, self. And the moon, emotional moon here, is being fully illuminated at 6 degrees. Now, importantly enough, we have other information, other planets, other actors on the stage in this particular performance. Now, look, this is what, my 4th year doing astrology, 5th year maybe doing astrology videos on the interwebs, okay? This is so important. If I've put out a video talking about the sun and the moon in these two places before, in Aries and Libra, why would anyone come back to hear this story today? Well, the truth about astrology is a lot of people once try to simplify it, okay? I see these, I'm going to come back here. I see these like little quips on Instagram or Facebook or just like little things. And it's just like astrology is not super, super simple. And I love the astrologers that can break it down to being as simple as you can to gain something from it, but it's not a simple concept, okay? And it's like, there's a lot of people saying, oh, we're gonna release something today. The moon's in Aries, what do you wanna release today? It's like, maybe releasing is not what's the point here, okay? We're fully illuminating something. We've said yes and no, and yes and no. Our entire lives we said yes and no. Our entire lives we've had somebody else tell us, you should have done this, or you shouldn't have done that, or congratulations, you did this great, or you screwed up. And a lot of times you're going to get congratulated if you did something that they feel good about, but they might have tried to talk you out of it to begin with, and you had to make your own decision. And that your own decision is Aries energy, okay? So there's me, my I, and here's me, my I in Aries, my emotional moon in Aries here. I need to make my own decisions. And do you remember that Gap commercial that happened like probably back in the 90s, maybe early 2000s? And I think it was Gap or maybe Eddie Bauer or whatever, but it's like this person standing there, and like these people just come and they just put all these different clothes on them, and they dress this person up however they want. I mean, this is the world. The world's going to tell you what shoes to wear, what kind of phone you should have in your pocket, and you're not cool if you have an Android, right? And if you like this music or this thing, that it's not popular, it's not cool. And if you're a plumber, then it's not a valuable job to like women in society these days, or a trade skill worker. So those jobs are like falling off because they're not popular, they're not cool. So it's like the real things that we really need to do: farming, electrical, plumbing, bricking. You know what I mean? Like fundamental things of human existence as of 2023, fundamental things. They're not popular, they're not cool, so we're not doing them. It's like really, really, really interesting times right now, because we're being led too much by an outside influence, by an outside source. And here I am playing into it, talking about astrology. I'm an outside source talking to you right now. It's fascinating how that works, the paradoxes of life. But artists tell truths, tell lies to expose truths, while politicians tell lies to hide truths, right? So some people want to push their agenda on you for their personal gain of buying their product to fill their pockets with more money. Some people just want to share things with you, so for you to inform yourself. I hope you find me in the latter of the two, right? So here we are in this time and day of 2023. Balance, balance, balance. Mars here, which is the ruling planet of Aries, in its opposite sign, what we consider the fall or a detriment in this sign. So Mars here is about action. It's putting one foot in front of another. Okay. And in the sign of Libra, oftentimes people say, well, there's options in front of me. All rivers lead to the ocean, so I'm not sure which river I want to take. And most of the time, my friends, we don't always see what's coming. We can look at this river and there can be some rocks and whatnot here. And we can look at this river and it looks, the point of entry can look like it's clean and easy. However, this one with the rocks here might be the clean and easy one, and this one might be whitewater rafting. We don't always know until we take the path, okay? Furthermore, we don't always know until somebody else did it first. And if somebody else took that path and has been the adventurous, daring individual to go down that river and say, this river has whitewater rapids. This river is great for canoeing and kayaking and family. This one, level of difficulties much higher. Bring the right tools, okay? Now you can make up your own mind and decide which river you want to go down. You could be the first one to go down that river. And it's also up to you to determine what, yes or no, should I bring, it's just like, are you going to wear the full-on regalia to go kayaking? You don't know if it's going to be the whitewater rafting or not, right? When you're the person that's taking the leading edge, which is the Aries energy, taking the leading steps, sometimes you don't know what you're going to find or what you're going to get. So you have to be prepared for whatever is going to be there. Okay. So not having that information available, meaning somebody else hasn't done some work previously. Someone hasn't done this to say, oh, the best road to take is the one on the left, or that's, you know what I mean? So it's like, this is up to you. And my friends, this is life. This is life. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you, well, the clear river is a much better one. That's the one to take. That's the safe one. That's the one that I would choose. It's like, maybe I want the adventure. Maybe your playing safe isn't what I need for my life. Maybe I need excitement. We're talking about an Aries full moon, friends. Okay? Maybe I need the adventure. Maybe I want those rapids. Maybe that's what I desire. And you desire something else. And that's okay. We don't have to agree on these things. Not everyone has to love astrology, and everyone has to love race cars or basketball or knitting or whatever, okay? That's the beauty of your own individuality. Okay, so we can take nuggets from other people. We can listen to other people, but ultimately we have to come back to ourselves. We have to come back to our own internal guidance system. We have to come back to our own little antenna here and say, what do I want to do and why do I want to do it? Okay, now I want to do this, but my friend is telling me I should be doing this. I want to go this way. My friend's telling me I should go this way. Now, they're not on me with this path. They're just giving me advice on what they would do. So if I go down this path and my friend I'm disappoint my friend and I fail, then they can say, "Well, I told you you should have done this," and then I can tell my friend to shut up because they're not me, right? I can go down this path and I can succeed, and my friend could say, "Wow, great job." Now I want to step back for a second about an alarming amount of passivity happening, and I even see it astrologically. I see people say like, "Oh, Mars is in Libra, avoid arguments." The moon's in Aries, avoid arguments. Don't tell me what to do. But no, it's seriously, it's just like, so it's like saying it's raining, don't get wet. Well, that's what the point of rain is. It's rain. Rain is supposed to make things wet. And if I don't want to get wet, sure, don't go outside. But it's like the energy, the essence of the energy itself. So it's like we're trying to avoid any other emotion. And I see it all the time. I see it through what is it called? Bypassing, spiritual bypassing. In the spiritual community that I'm very deeply involved in here, and even the religious community, it's all the same. There's this. No, I'm not telling people to go out and start a fight. Tell their friend to F off. I'm just saying there's a beautiful energy that's not just peace and love and everything, okay? There's a lot of times where being upset is completely acceptable. And yet we have a lot of people around us saying, no, this is wrong. Like, you're not supposed to have any other emotion besides happiness or depression, because that's seemingly the only things that we're told that we can be right now. You can either be happy and go along with the flow of everything, or just be depressed and not have an opinion, not having a voice, and feel like you're being taken advantage of by everybody around you. I want you to come in to my job. You're going to work the 8-hour shift or the 10-hour shift, and I'm going to pay you as little as I can because I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, I own the company. I'm going to pay you the smallest amount that I can. I'm going to take as much from you that I can, and I'm going to gain all of it, and I'm going to give you the smallest amount. This is the year of strikes. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again for the rest of the year. As long as the North Node is in Aries, you have to stand up for yourself. The world will pick you apart like crows to a scarecrow. You know what I mean? Like just picking apart hay by hay by hay until that scary thing isn't there anymore. Okay, that scary thing could be a voice that's standing up to resist against the powers that be, people that are trying to put us down or trying to mute you, which I see all the time throughout many different aspects of social media. People who they get enough clout and they start doing good things. They don't go along with the popular opinion, and all of a sudden stuff comes out about them that's like, oh, we want to cancel this person. Now, I'm not going to get into any specifics, but you know what I'm talking about. You see it too. Okay, the world will pick us apart. We need to stick up for ourselves, and sometimes that means we gotta bark. Now, we see this through nature all around us. I watched a video on Instagram 2 days ago of a little parrot, I believe, trying to open up some blueberries. All right, you open this thing up, and the thing fell on his head. He tried to open it again, her head, I don't know. Tried to open it again, it fell on the parrot's head, and then it opened it up, and it's like it's smashing this thing down with its beak, and it's just like, okay. Now I'm gonna eat my blueberries. So it's like we see nature get frustrated with inanimate objects. We see cats. I live in a town of stray cats. It's kind of amazing. I love walking, up to my porch and seeing a couple cats on my porch at this point. And it's interesting watching these little felines. I give them food. I know I'm an enabler here, but I give them food, and it's like there's 3 main kitties that live here in my house: the mamba and the dad and the little baby. But every now and then there'll be like another cat, it's like this other cat, and it's like they're not part of the family. They know that the food that I put out there really wasn't for them. And it's interesting to see how these other cats, they'll sometimes they'll be like, like, this is mine. They'll make a little noise just to let them know, like, this is my territory, but I'm gonna let you eat here right now. I put out 2 bowls, 1 water bowl in the middle and 2 bowls. Why? Because the little baby cat, he shoves his little furry face in whatever the bowl. I tried to feed the mom because she's like, it's mom. So I try to feed her her own separate dish, and that little baby will just shove his head in there and push mom out of the way. It's kind of cute, but I got mom her own bowl for this. And the baby will do it all the time. He's over a year old now, so he's not quite a baby kitten anymore. But the point is selfishness. Aries full moon, selfishness, okay? So it's like there's plenty of food. There's 2 bowls here, and this cat wants the bowl that she's eating out of. Now, I will even move the bowl, and the cat will go eat out of the other one, the mom cat, and then the baby will still want whatever bowl she's eating out of, okay? So why am I saying this is because even though there's plenty, people are still going to want what's yours. There's plenty out there. There is enough water, there's enough food, there's enough shelter, there's enough earth, there's enough men to women, there's enough love, but somebody was going to want what you have. This is nature. This is life, right? Now, we have to learn how to play together. When we look at trees, how trees grow, oftentimes, they're going to give each other a little bit of space. You know, trees grow and they kind of move to give each other space to grow. Because there's a whole net that's happening underneath the system, underneath the surface, right? We see above the surface, but underneath the surface, a lot of those trees are unified in their root system. So in that unification, they're all growing together to make the forest. Now, this is human beings, this is humanity, and this is life. This is Earth, where we're at right now. We all have to work together. So we have an interesting imbalance going on here of money. I have the money, I have the power, and if I have the power, I call the shots. I make the rules, and I can be mad at you. I can yell at you for coming in late. I can do whatever I want. I hold the power. And then you, the subordinate, you are the employee, you have less or no power, but you do have power. And this is part of this full moon. So that's why I'm like bringing up this shit example of astrology of like letting go. No, to me, this is about taking it back, taking your power back, taking back what's yours. We do this cord cutting thing when I learned about Reiki. You know, cord cutting. It's like I give back everything that belongs to you, and I take back everything that is mine. Everything that is mine. I bring back everything that is mine. I release what's yours and bring back what's mine. This is a really powerful technique. And if you want to try this, you know, on this full moon, going up the chakras and use your little cord cutting, giving back what's yours and taking back what's mine. The most important thing is taking back what's mine, because that's yours. You are allowed to take up space. You're allowed to have a voice. You're allowed to have an opinion. My God, to have an opinion these days. And it's just like people want to tell you that unless your opinion is with the majority of people, you're not supposed to share it. And it's just like, no, this is wrong. That's wrong. That's not okay. It's not okay for any group, no matter how righteous they are, how justified they are in their words, their actions, or whatever, to say you have to think like me, and if you don't think like me, then you're wrong, and you don't deserve air, space, a job, love, money, a hug, whatever it is, man. It's like you are equal and all the same. And I was just saying, I'm a Capricorn. I don't have the same mentality as a Leo or a Gemini or a Pisces. You know what I mean? Like we're different. We're fundamentally different on the things that we want to do. And that's perfectly okay. But at the same time, in this grand picture of astrology, like everybody plays a role in this. You know, everybody needs a captain. Everybody needs a first deckman. I don't know. I'm not a boat guy. Whatever. But everybody needs like all of these things for a full functioning whatever to run. A full functioning company, a ship, a team, a basketball team, any sports thing, anything. You need a team of people most likely. You got to learn how to play together. And in doing so, this is really interesting too. Do we give up on people? You just do we bark and give up and say, okay, this isn't going to work out? Or do you communicate with people and try to find a common ground, commonality? We don't close our eyes and people just disappear from our life. You don't close your eyes and your boss just disappears, or you fire that person that's bringing your company down, which can also be the case. You know, it's like, oh, you shouldn't. I have a friend dealing with that right now. It's just like someone that's in the work environment that is talking poorly about other people in the work environment. They're bringing the whole space down. They're bringing the whole space down, coming to me. And I said, honestly, it's nip it in the butt. Confront the person, talk to them about it. And if the chain doesn't change, sometimes you gotta prune the tree. You gotta cut off a limb. If it's not adding nutrients to the rest of the tree, you have to let it go. And then we have this terrible concept in the back of our minds. It's like, oh my God, you can't fire somebody. It's like, yes, you absolutely can, and yes, you absolutely should. Because if they're not, iron sharpens iron. I think I said the same thing, 2 weeks ago. Iron sharpens iron. Like you got to have the right people in your environment that are going to make you stronger, better, your company grow, your mindset grow, your spirituality, your religion, your whatever it is. You got to have the right people in your environment. So it's like, it's okay to separate from people. It's okay to go your own way. It's okay to say, hey, this isn't working out. Okay, if this means breaking off a relationship with somebody. We also have this really interesting, all of our personal planets right now, which would be, the personal Venus, Mercury, and Mars here are all around 20 degrees, as you see right now. 21 degrees, 20 degrees, 22 degrees. So this is creating a sextile between Mars and Venus. Mars and Venus working together here. And Mars and Venus creating a kind of unique connection to Neptune and Pisces. How could things be? Now, I posted a video. I shared a video with my friends earlier. This is some kids talking about. I think I talked about this too, but there was these kids talking about their dad trying to put his hand into a box and see what it is. Okay, and he's freaking out in the back of his mind. He doesn't know what it is, and he touches it. Oh my God, it's hairy, and it's just this whole thing. He's freaking out in the back of his head. But the thing he's putting his hand in to touch is just a potato. Okay. I'm pretty sure I talked about this 2 weeks ago. But the point is, we get on social media, we talk to some of our friends and say, oh my God, the full moon, it's coming, it's going to be at 6 degrees. What is this squaring? What is this sextile? What is this? And then we can feed into one another in a negative way. Okay? So it's important to notice too, that we can feed into each other in a positive way, we can feed into each other to a negative way. The fear, uncertainty, and doubt. What is this full moon going to bring? Oh my God. Oh, my lucky stars. Or you know what I mean? It's like, I'm feeling the weight of the world. We don't sometimes know until it is. And allowing ourselves to just be without the extra mental stimulation is, I think, very important. And especially with these two cardinal energies here, Libra and Aries. And because Mars is also in the sign of Libra, we're talking about action. We're talking about that of what you love, want, and desire, putting things into action. And it's just like, who's your favorite person on this planet? It should be yourself. It's probably not, but it should be. I mean, if you asked me who my favorite person on the planet was, I wouldn't have said myself. I thought, well, that's egotistical. That's ridiculous. But it should be. I should be my number one. I should be number one priority. I want to treat myself, take myself out, be nice to myself, be kind to myself, love my insecurities, love the things that make me different, love the things that make me weird, right? Because when we're looking at this as well, with Mars in Libra, the Sun in Libra, okay, again, Mars coming back here to Aries, and then this connection creating a sextile down here to Venus, which is the ruling planet of Libra. And Venus, of course, still in shadow, moving through Leo. This is about your own creative self-expression. And other people wanted you to be small. Other people didn't want to hear your voice because it took away from their spotlight. But you have to break through and break free. 22 degrees, okay? We have to break free from these old stereotypical ideas of fitting into the norm and being small and being quiet and being polite. Not saying to be rude or to be nasty, but sometimes the dog has to bark. The cat's got to, hiss. Like, this is nature. Sometimes we got to prune the tree. Whatever it is, this is happening. Now, I want to talk about this. This is one of the last things I want to talk about here today. Always lots to talk about. Uranus creating this sextile to Neptune. All right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Instability. Now, instability is certainly a word that you can associate with Uranus. Now, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Why am I talking about that with Neptune? Well, this sextile, again, these two different energies are playing into each other. One an earth energy, one a water energy, water and earth creation. Okay, these two are creating a stir. Now, Uranus, think of this Uranian energy, is something it's an unstoppable force. An unstoppable force. You cannot stop this explosion from happening. Not even Saturn, not even the immovable wall of Saturn can stop the explosion of Uranian energy. All right. Now, once that Uranian energy kicks off, the explosion, it unifies all things of particles and lack thereof particles into the concept of what would be Neptunian, Piscean, okay, expansion, explosion. And when we're talking about Pisces, we can talk about two different things, the two fish, the koi fish, right? There's the good, there's the bad, there's the certainty, there's the uncertainty, there's the possibility of imagination, there's the possibility of a nightmare. Okay? And when we have these energies that are going on right now in the chart, with media telling us how to be, telling us what to do, how to act, all of these things, money, Venus, Taurus, money, instability. Now, not only money, but this deals with our homes. This deals with our structures of stability, like our, you know what I mean? Yeah, literally your home, your job, all of this stuff right now is like the possibility of it being swept away is very loud for a lot of people. And then we also have this sextile to Pluto, which is a transformation, governmental, governing bodies, meaning not just the authoritarian, but all of the governing bodies of not just the United States, but the globe at large. We are the government, you and I are the government, then there is a government, right? We are the government body, then there's the authoritarian government. So Pluto, government body here in Capricorn, about a huge transformation and shift, and creating that trine down here to Uranus. Okay, so there is a lot of instability right now. There's a lot of insecurity right now. There's a lot of people that don't know how they're going to make money, that don't know where their next dollar is coming from. They don't know where, if their job is going to be able to pay them so they can afford the rent in their house, in their apartment, their mortgage, whatever it is. There's a lot of uncertainty happening right now in the zodiac. Okay, so on one hand, being kind to people, because we don't know where our energies are at. We don't know what everyone else is going through. So sometimes when we bark, it's necessary. Sometimes someone's going to bark because they're feeling insecure, they're feeling whatever, and they might take it out on and project it onto you. And that's not okay. So in this kind of energy, we might bark back a little bit. And then they might say, hey, Jim, Joe, Mary, Donna, whatever your name is, sorry about that. I was going through some stuff. And then you can have a conversation about it. Then you can talk about it with each other. Then you can be humans. Then you can get along and find common ground. But it's not just barking and walking away. Or like, oh, that person barked at me and now I've got to sit here and take it. And there's another aspect of this like spiritual world, this spiritual community, or even the religious stuff, where it's just like this word about transmuting. That the wall of Saturn, or let's say Uranian energy is the wrecking ball and Saturn is the immovable wall. That this isn't where, there's nothing in nature that works this way. But yet it's expected and taught that human beings are supposed to respond this way, which is mind-blowing to me. So maybe I'm here trying to balance that out by saying the opposite, because there's very few places, unless you're talking about a sofa bed that's a sofa that's made to do these like crazy impact and allow that blow, but it's just like that's really not how most of nature works. So it's like not being super upset with yourself if you respond or you're reactionary to energy that's happening around or to you. We can only be the best we can in a certain environment or a certain circumstance. And then from there, we can say, do I want to repeat these same things again? If so-and-so came up to me and said the same thing to me, would I respond this way? Would I walk away? Would I bark back? How would I do this? We don't always know until we do something. So it's like you always are doing the best you can given the tools that you have at the time. So giving yourself a little bit of grace, giving yourself a little bit of freedom, allowing yourself to feel the array of emotions, okay? Like every freaking color in the rainbow, all of the spectrum of emotions are allowed and meant to be felt and expressed. Now, again, I'm not condoning violence or saying go start an argument with somebody just because. That's going to also create energy that's going to come. You know how this works. But at the same time, we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to be able to get what we need to survive in this world. That little cat is going to stick his face into that bowl of food until he meets another big cat that says, "Don't take from me, little kitten." And at that point in time, that little cat might not stick his face in other people's food anymore. But until that happens, the cat's going to keep doing it. Right? So this is the same as people. We keep doing these same behaviors. Well, how much can I get away with? I'm just going to keep taking from your plate. How much can I get away with? How much will you allow me to just keep taking from you? I'm going to just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to get smaller and smaller. And then your voice is going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. Until you stand up for yourself, until you do something about yourself, until you feel this energy. And if that means, now here's the letting go part. If that means letting go of something so that you can feel that energy, if we're medicating ourselves with cannabis, if we're medicating ourselves with alcohol, if we're medicating ourselves with mindless scrolling on social media, maybe it's time to let it go. To sit with yourself, find what energy you need to whatever, to propel you to go wherever you need to go. Wherever that is, my friends, I hope you enjoy yourself there, and I hope you have a wonderful day, a happy full mooning. As always, I love you, and I wish you enough. We'll see you next time.